Welcome to dramaU. Jeon Do-yeon and Lee Yoo-mi join forces to kill their husbands. Netflix's darkest K-drama of the year, As You Stand By, follows two desperate women who plot the perfect crime to escape the hell of domestic violence. It's either kill or be killed. When the law fails to protect the victims, their only choice is to become the perpetrators. Hello, friends of dramaU. Today, we're diving into a Korean thriller crime series that just dropped on Netflix in November 2025 and has been generating massive buzz. As You Stand By. This show is definitely not an easy watch, but I guarantee it will leave you unsettled and pondering the true meaning of justice long after you've finished. First, let's get the basics down. The Korean title of As You Stand By is Daega Cheobossemen, and the English title is As You Stand By. The series has a total of 8 episodes and is based on the 2014 novel Naomi and Kanako by renowned Japanese author Okuda Hideo. The cast is incredibly powerful. Jeon Do-yeon, Lee Yoo-mi, Jang Seung-jo, Lee Moo-sang are all phenomenal actors. In particular, the performances by our two lead actresses, Jeon Do-yeon and Lee Yoo-mi, are absolutely explosive, leaving viewers heartbroken and shaken. The core theme of this drama is incredibly heavy: domestic violence. But this isn't some heartwarming, inspirational healing drama. It confronts the brutal reality of violence head-on, depicting the extreme choices victims make when pushed to the absolute edge. The plot is a gripping mix of violence, suspense, and murder, with a pace so tight you won't be able to stop watching. Now let's get into the story. It revolves around two women. The first is Jo Eun-soo, played by Jeon Do-yeon. Eun-soo is a department store employee who appears to live an ordinary life, but she carries the heavy burden of childhood trauma. She grew up witnessing her father's violence against her mother, but she chose to look away, to escape reality. As a child, whenever her father started hitting her mother, Eun-soo would hide in her room, pull the covers over her head, and press her hands tightly against her ears, pretending nothing was happening. She believed that if she couldn't see or hear it, the terrible things weren't real. But this avoidance, this standing by, became a lifelong source of guilt. She constantly asks herself, if I had been braver back then, could I have changed everything? If I had called the police, if I had protected my mom, would things have been different? As an adult, Eun-soo places her mother in a nursing home. Every time she visits and sees her mother's vacant stare, her guilt deepens. She knows she is just as guilty as her abusive father because she chose to be a bystander. The second woman is Jo Hee-soo, played by Lee Yoo-mi. Hee-soo was once a passionate children's book author, but after marrying Roh Jin-pyo, her life turned into a relentless nightmare. Roh Jin-pyo, played by Jang Seung-jo, is a classic abuser. He has severe OCD and a controlling personality, viewing his wife as his property. In public, he might appear gentle and polite, but at home, he is a tyrant. Hee-soo's daily life is a tightrope walk of fear. She is constantly on edge, terrified of making the slightest mistake that might anger her husband. A misplaced cup could earn her a beating. A meal not to his liking? A beating. A wrong word? A beating. Sometimes, for no reason at all, if he's in a bad mood, he'll hit her. How severe is the abuse? A bruised and swollen face, injuries all over her body, broken ribs. It's not just physical harm, it's psychological torture. Roh Jin-pyo verbally humiliates her, controls her movements, and monitors her every move. Hee-soo lives like a prisoner, in constant fear. You might ask, why not get a divorce? Why not run away? The series realistically portrays the plight of domestic violence victims. First, there's social stigma. When Hee-soo confides in friends about the abuse, the responses are often, you must have done something to provoke him, all couples fight, or just endure it, it'll pass. Second, the law is powerless. Hee-soo applied for a restraining order, but that piece of paper couldn't stop her abuser. By the time the police arrived, Roh Jin-pyo was already gone. Without catching him in the act, they couldn't make an arrest. Even when she reported it, the police would just advise them to communicate better and leave. Then there's financial dependency. Hee-soo has no job and no income. If she leaves her husband, she can't even survive. Moreover, Roh Jin-pyo threatens to leave her with nothing if she dares to divorce him. The most terrifying part is the psychological trauma. The long-term abuse leads to learned helplessness. Hee-soo starts to believe she is useless, that she deserves to be beaten, and that there is no escape. She loses the will to fight back, numbly enduring the pain. The story's turning point comes when Eun-soo and Hee-soo reunite. They were schoolmates years ago and accidentally meet again at a department store. One day, Eun-soo visits Hee-soo's home and witnesses Roh Jin-pyo abusing his wife. The scene shocks and enrages her, while also triggering her own childhood trauma. Hee-soo is beaten until blood streams from her nose. She curls up on the floor, trembling. Roh Jin-pyo stands over her, showing no remorse, only cold indifference and disgust. In that moment, Eun-soo makes a decision. This time, she will not be a bystander. This time, she will take action. Two desperate women sit together and begin discussing a bold plan. Hee-soo says, "I've thought about calling the police, running away, getting a divorce. But nothing works. He won't let me go. I only have two choices. Kill him or be killed by him." Eun-soo replies, "Then let's kill him." When those words are spoken, they both fall silent for a long time. They know that once they take this step, there's no turning back. But they also understand that if they don't do this, Hee-soo will eventually die, and Eun-soo will live the rest of her life burdened by the guilt of standing by once again. And so, they begin planning the perfect crime. Eun-soo displays astonishing calm and strategic ability. Their plan unfolds in several steps. Step 1, find a double. They locate an illegal immigrant named Jang Seung-jo and have him impersonate Roh Jin-pyo. Step 2, create a false trail. They have Jang Seung-jo use Roh Jin-pyo's passport and identity to buy a plane ticket to Shanghai, creating the illusion that Roh Jin-pyo has left Korea and is abroad. Step 3, commit the murder. When Roh Jin-pyo is completely off guard, they strike him in the head with a crystal ball, killing him. Step 4, dispose of the body. They dismember and hide the corpse, ensuring it won't be discovered. Throughout this process, the director uses tense music and oppressive camera work to convey the fear, determination, and desperation of the two women. They are not born killers. They are victims pushed to the brink. Particularly noteworthy is the director's choice in filming the domestic violence scenes. The camera focuses on the abuser, Roh Jin-pyo's twisted face, swinging fists, and cold eyes, rather than excessively dwelling on the victim's wounds and suffering. This filming approach is crucial because it avoids re-traumatizing the victim and prevents the audience from experiencing discomfort by voyeuristically witnessing the victim's pain. At the same time, it intensifies the audience's hatred for the abuser, exposing his ugliness. This choice has been widely praised. The plan seems perfect, but things become far more complicated than they anticipated. The first problem comes from Jang Seung-jo. This illegal immigrant discovers the truth, that Roh Jin-pyo is already dead and he has become an accomplice to two women. Jang Seung-jo becomes greedy and uses this secret to extort 3 billion Korean won from Hee-soo. Where would Hee-soo get 3 billion won? She can't possibly come up with that kind of money. But Jang Seung relentlessly pressures her, even threatening to turn himself into the police and reveal everything. Worse still, to cover his tracks, Jang Seung murders a security guard. This new killing spirals the situation further out of control. Eun-soo and Hee-soo realize they must not only hide their own crime, but are now entangled in an even larger web of criminal activity. The second threat comes from Roh Jin-young. She is Roh Jin-pyo's sister and also a police officer. When her brother goes missing, she begins to investigate. Jin-young is a capable cop. She uses her professional skills and police resources to inch closer to the truth. She discovers many suspicious details. Her brother's credit card was used in Korea, witnesses saw someone resembling him, and Jang Seung's identity is problematic. As the investigation deepens, Jin-young grows increasingly suspicious of Hee-soo. She starts surveilling and following her, gathering evidence. Eun-soo and Hee-soo feel immense pressure, walking on thin ice every day. As the plot reaches its climax, Jang Seung's body is discovered in a car accident. This accident exposes part of the truth and makes the case even more complex and mysterious. Ultimately, Roh Jin-young gathers enough evidence to expose Eun-soo and Hee-soo's murder plot. But her reaction surprises everyone. As the sister of the victim, Jin-young cannot accept the fact that her brother was killed. Even though she knows he was an abuser, even though she understands Hee-soo's pain, she still believes that killing is a crime. Jin-young confronts Hee-soo and forces her to commit suicide to atone. She says, "You killed my brother, so you must die. A life for a life. That's fair." In the nick of time, Eun-soo arrives at the scene and saves Hee-soo. The two women embrace tightly, sobbing, but the secret can no longer be hidden. The police intervene, and the truth comes to light. Both Hee-soo and Eun-soo face legal consequences and are sentenced to prison. In prison, the two have ample time to reflect. Do they regret it? Perhaps they regret choosing the path of crime. But if they had to do it over again, did they have any other choice? After serving their sentences, Hee-soo and Eun-soo are released. They choose to leave Korea and travel to Vietnam, where they reunite with Chen Xiaobai, who has supported them throughout. Chen Xiaobai, played by Lee Moo-seng, is a mysterious yet warm character. He is a trade association representative and has business dealings with Eun-soo. But more importantly, he becomes a spiritual pillar for the two women. It was Chen Xiaobai who said, "Let the mad woman inside you out," a phrase that inspired Eun-soo and gave her the courage to take action. Throughout the entire ordeal, Chen Xiaobai does not judge them, but offers understanding and support. The final scene of the series is highly symbolic. The three stand on a beach in Vietnam, facing the crashing waves. Wave after wave surges toward them, but they do not retreat. Chen Xiaobai says, "Don't fear the waves. Learn to coexist with them." This line suggests that past trauma, like the waves, will never completely disappear, but they can learn to face it, accept it, and move on with their lives. Hee-soo and Eun-soo exchange smiles. They have been through a hellish life, lost so much, and paid a heavy price, but they are finally free. Now let's discuss the core themes explored in this drama. The first theme is the true face of domestic violence. As You Stand By does not shy away from the brutality of violence, but it also doesn't graphically display it. The director uses camera work, sound design, and the actors' performances to make the audience genuinely feel the terror of violence. Those sounds, the dull thud of fists hitting flesh, the suppressed sobs of the victim, the abuser's roar, are all handled with chilling realism. More importantly, the series portrays the real struggles of domestic violence victims. Social stigma. You must have done something wrong. Why don't you just get a divorce? All couples fight. It's normal. These words may seem ordinary, but to victims, they are a form of secondary harm. They imply that the victim is at fault, deserves the abuse, and doesn't deserve sympathy. The law's powerlessness. Restraining orders are practically useless, and the police cannot truly protect victims. Even when reported, if the abuser isn't caught in the act, no action can be taken. And domestic violence often happens at home without witnesses, making it difficult to gather evidence. Financial dependency. Many victims lack economic means. After leaving the abuser, they cannot survive. Moreover, abusers often control the victim's finances, making independence impossible. Psychological trauma. Long-term abuse leads to learned helplessness, causing victims to lose the ability to resist. They begin to believe they are truly useless, truly deserve to be beaten, and truly cannot escape. The second theme is the guilt of the bystander. The title, As You Stand By, addresses this profound question. Are those who choose to turn a blind eye when violence occurs also guilty? Eun-soo's story provides an answer. She did not directly abuse anyone, but her standing by, her avoidance, burdened her with lifelong guilt. This guilt is even more torturous than being directly abused, because she is forever asking herself, if I had been braver back then, could I have changed everything? The message the series conveys is clear. Violence persists not only because of abusers, but because there are too many bystanders. When we see a neighbor being abused and choose to think it's their family matter, and don't call the police. When we hear that a colleague is being beaten by her husband and choose to think it's too private for me to interfere, and stay silent. When we know a friend is trapped in a violent relationship and choose to think she'll handle it herself and don't offer help. Every time we stand by, every time we stay silent, we become to some extent an accomplice to the abuser. Our indifference gives abusers the space to continue their violence. The third theme is the failure of institutions and power structures. The writer cleverly critiques the failure of institutions in the plot. The law is supposed to protect victims, but in this series, the law appears so powerless. Hee-soo applied for a restraining order, but it was just a piece of paper. Roh Jin-pyo didn't care. He continued to beat her. Hee-soo called the police, but when they arrived, Roh Jin-pyo acted normal, saying it was just a small marital spat. The police couldn't see the bruises because Roh Jin-pyo was clever and only hit places that weren't easily visible, so they couldn't take action. Lawyers told Hee-soo that if she wanted a divorce, she needed evidence. But where would that evidence come from? No witnesses, no recordings, just bruises. And bruises heal. This institutional failure pushes victims to the edge. When the law cannot protect them, when society abandons them, they can only choose to save themselves, even if it means committing a crime. The fourth theme is the gray area between justice and morality. What makes As You Stand By so compelling is that it doesn't offer simple answers. The series doesn't tell you killing is right or killing is wrong. Instead, it presents a complex moral dilemma. From a legal standpoint, Hee-soo and Eun-soo committed murder and should be punished. But from a moral standpoint, they were defending themselves, trying to survive. If they didn't kill Roh Jin-pyo, Hee-soo would eventually be killed by him. In this situation, who is the real perpetrator? Who is the real victim? If the law cannot protect victims, do they have any other options? When a person's existence only brings pain and harm, never changes, never repents, does their life still have value? These questions have no standard answers. Every viewer will have their own thoughts. Some believe that killing is always wrong, regardless of the reason. Others think that in such extreme circumstances, killing can be understood. Still others believe the real responsibility lies with the failing system. This is precisely where the depth of this drama lies. It doesn't give you answers, it makes you think. Now let's talk about the actors' performances. Jeon Do-yeon, who plays Jo Eun-soo, portrays the most complex character in the series. She is not a direct victim, yet she carries the guilt of being a bystander. Jeon Do-yeon uses subtle expressions and body language to convey Eun-soo's inner struggle, fear, and determination. There is one particularly powerful scene. Eun-soo visits her mother at the nursing home. Her mother sits there, her eyes vacant, staring out the window. Eun-soo holds her mother's hand and says, "Mom, I'm sorry. I was too young back then. I was too scared. I was really scared." At this point, Eun-soo breaks down in tears. Jeon Do-yeon's acting explodes in this moment. You can feel how many years of guilt and pain this character has carried. Lee Yoo-mi, who plays Jo Hee-soo, is the direct victim of domestic violence. Lee Yoo-mi masterfully portrays both the character's fragility and resilience. Her eyes, especially after being abused, a mixture of fear, despair, and numbness, are heartbreaking to watch. But when she decides to fight back, to kill, her eyes become firm and cold. Lee Yoo-mi handles this transformation beautifully. Jang Seung-jo as Roh Jin-pyo successfully creates an abuser that the audience despises. He is not an over-the-top, cartoonish villain, but a very realistic domestic abuser. In public, he is gentle, polite, and well-spoken. But at home, his face instantly becomes twisted and cold. Jang Seung-jo plays this duality so well that it evokes a real sense of fear and disgust. Lee Moo-sang as Chen Xiaobai is one of the few warm characters in the show. He doesn't have many lines, but each one carries weight. His line, "Let the madwoman inside you out," is both an encouragement to Eun-soo and a call to all oppressed women. Lee Moo-sang's steady performance makes this character a refreshing presence in the drama. Next, let's discuss the cinematography. The entire series uses a dark, oppressive color palette, with heavy use of grays, blacks, and dark blues. This visual design creates a suspenseful and tense atmosphere, symbolizing the character's inner darkness and despair. The camera work is also very deliberate. The director frequently uses close-ups, allowing the audience to see every subtle expression on the characters' faces. The trembling when they're scared, the tensing of muscles in anger, the emptiness in their eyes in despair. These details make the characters more three-dimensional and real. The sound design is also excellent. The sounds of violence rehandled with chilling realism. The score is dominated by low, tense melodies, keeping the audience on edge. With only 8 episodes, the series is very tightly paced. There are no filler plots or meaningless subplots. Every episode advances the main storyline. This fast pace keeps the audience engaged, making them want to watch the next episode immediately after finishing one. After its release, As You Stand By quickly became a hot topic on Netflix. It received overwhelmingly positive reviews from both audiences and critics. Korean media unanimously praised the show's social significance, viewing it not just as entertainment, but as a profound critique and reflection on the social system. Many viewers said they were deeply affected by the show and couldn't stop thinking about the questions it raised. Some commented, "This show made me reflect on whether I have also been a bystander, and I hope society pays more attention to the issue of domestic violence and improves protection mechanisms." Of course, some viewers found the plot too heavy and felt it required a strong stomach. Indeed, this is not a show for light entertainment. It will make you feel depressed, sad, and angry. But that is precisely where its power lies. In summary, As You Stand By is a brave, profound, and powerful work. It does not shy away from the brutal reality of domestic violence, nor does it glorify any side. Instead, it honestly presents the desperate situation and difficult choices of victims. The value of this drama lies not only in its thrilling plot, but also in the questions it provokes. When the law fails to protect victims, what should we do? Is the silence of bystanders also a crime? Where is the line between justice and morality? How can society truly protect victims of domestic violence? The superb acting of Jeon Do-yeon, Lee Yoo-mi, and the rest of the cast, combined with the director's deep understanding and respectful presentation of the issues, makes As You Stand By one of the must-watch K-dramas of 2025. This is not an easy show to watch. It will be oppressive and painful. But it is absolutely a work worth watching and thinking about. It reminds us that violence comes not only from the abuser's fists, but also from the bystander's silence. Only by facing the problem, speaking out, and building truly effective protection mechanisms can we break the cycle of violence. If you know someone who is suffering from domestic violence, please do not be a bystander. Call the police, offer help, give support. Every small action could save a life. If you yourself are suffering from domestic violence, please remember, it is not your fault. You deserve to be protected. You deserve a better life. Please be brave and seek help. Do not give up hope. Friends of dramaU, As You Stand By is now streaming on Netflix with all 8 episodes. If you are prepared to confront this heavy but important topic, I highly recommend you watch this show. I believe it will give you much to think about and inspire you. Thank you for tuning in today. See you next time.